You have a high-stakes deadline sitting on your laptop, the kind that determines your trajectory for the next year. Instead of opening the file, you find yourself suddenly compelled to deep clean your entire room or organize every drawer in the kitchen. Typical advice labels this behavior as laziness. We are told it is a simple lack of discipline or a failure to manage time properly. Neuroscientists look at this same behavior and see something else: emotional dysregulation. When the pressure feels crushing, your brain perceives that to-do list as a biological threat. It enters a state of high alert, prioritizing your immediate safety over your long-term goals. Overcoming procrastination requires a shift in perspective. We have to stop treating the brain like it is broken and start treating it like an overprotective operating system. The moment a complex project is assigned, the mind begins analyzing every necessary step and every potential mistake simultaneously. This chart knots out maladaptive perfectionism, the subconscious belief that any result short of perfection is a total failure. Holding these high standards makes starting dangerous to your ego. As perceived risk grows, the brain raises its internal threat level. The brain builds a defensive wall to protect you from the anxiety of failure, shielding you from the work by making it impossible to engage with the task. This defense is managed by your reward system, which runs on the expectation of a payoff rather than the final result itself. This data shows the struggle with large projects. The brain sees a steep peak of effort, but expected dopamine remains at zero. Facing high ego threat and no immediate reward, it pivots to task avoidance, seeking an instant gratification spike to bypass the effort. Human biology craves predictability. When life feels messy or high-pressured, the mind seeks out controlled environments. This explains the sudden urge to scroll through a feed or tidy a desk. These are predictable environments with clear, immediate outcomes. Cleaning a room provides the brain with a temporary illusion of control, allowing it to navigate the dopamine deficit caused by the larger task. Relying on raw motivation fails when it is pitted against a biological defense mechanism. You have to address the neurochemistry directly. The first step of a system override is the 5-minute momentum rule. You commit to the intimidating task for exactly 5 minutes, with the full permission to stop once the time is up. This small time limit lowers the perceived threat level. It makes the task feel manageable enough to bypass the brain's initial defense system resistance. Starting is the most difficult barrier. Once you begin, that tiny victory releases a hit of dopamine that naturally pulls the brain toward continued action. Maintaining this momentum requires slicing the project into microscopic steps, tasks so small they seem impossible to fail. For the system to work, you must acknowledge and celebrate each of these steps out loud as you finish them. This celebration mechanically activates the neurochemistry needed to stay focused. You are intentionally triggering the reward circuit that the larger project lacks. This diagram illustrates the feedback loop. Each small win triggers a dopamine release, which sends a direct signal to the brain to repeat the behavior. This repeat signal builds the momentum required to carry the project through to completion. Procrastination is a natural defense mechanism against emotional overwhelm. Now that you understand the logic behind the system, you have the clearance to override it.